It's Thursday night and the Beards are back. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Big Blue Beards. I am Sergeant Mayhem with the bad internet connection. With me, as usual, is Monty, and Big Smooth is back.
What's up?
What's going on,
doing?
fellas? How's the week?
What's going on, guys? Got the crew back together.
That's right.
The band
is back
together.
That's right.
So
that's how old. That's how you
Smooth,
know.
since you missed last week's, yeah.
I was about to say
Smooth,
that's how you know
last
we're old.
week.
We have the same. We have the same sayings.
I know. I know. The Bandit. Yeah, seriously. It's all the same reference points. So
That's right.
Smooth, since you missed last week, we're going to jump right in and get you caught up on our free agency frenzy. What are your thoughts about the Giants pickups over the course of the free agency, man? We got a linebacker. We got a bunch of re-signings. We got wide receivers. We traded for a tight end. So give us your thoughts, man. What's going on?
Yeah, I think it really shows that Joe Shane and Dabes are sticking true to the kind of the mantra, right? The culture that they're creating: tough, dependable, reliable. Because there aren't really any big time splashes that they're making. The linebacker, whose name I'll probably butcher, Okari, something, right?
Okereke.
Yeah, I'll get that right. I love him. I think it's a great pickup. I think it's an under the radar. You know, he got paid what he got paid. We need it. You know, like there's no. I don't think there's a person alive that's a fan that, or even someone that doesn't like the Giants that doesn't think we need linebackers. So definitely love that. The trade for Waller was surprising, but I also don't. I loved it because, you know, I think didn't they turn his salary into like a signing bonus already and restructured it so that they essentially don't owe him a ton of money. It's a really kind of win-win situation for them. He's under contract, but if it doesn't work out, you know, they're not really losing much. There's a third-round pick. I just, you know, I think it's great. I think it's great upside. I think he can really stretch the field in a way that we haven't had a tight end like that in a long time. So that really excites me. And then I also feel like some of the wide receivers, I know they seem similar, right? But I also feel like it seemed like we had a lot of drop passes in important situations last year at the beginning of the year before they started rolling. And again, just getting really tough, dependable, like slot receivers, not anything flashy, guys that really can kind of move, can play multiple positions. You can put them out of the backfield. You can run, you know, jet sweeps. They can probably be in the kick game. I think he's done okay. I'm not, you know, blown away by it, but I look at it like this. This is the perfect free agency in trades for like football junkie, like coaches, like coaching guys. Like if you're like a football junkie, you love these signings because they're guys that you can win with. They're guys that, you know, are gonna, you know, fit well with the team. They're not gonna cause a lot of problems. They're team guys, right? If you're a stats guy, if you're a fantasy football guy, these guys are terrible. Like, you know, Paris Campbell is not going to fucking be your, you know, second round pick in your fantasy draft. That's just not going to happen. But, you know, he's probably going to win some games for the Giants if he stays healthy. I think they've done a good job so far. So that's my take. Nothing earth shattering, but I love it because we're the Giants, man. Like if we draft an exciting player, that's what we do. We really rarely kind of make that huge free agency, you know, flashy move. And when we do, it usually doesn't work out. So
we're usually overspending.
Yeah, and I think this.
No, I feel like the only like huge free agent that we took different time was Plaxico. Like that really helped. Obviously, a team that was on the verge of being a Super Bowl contender, and it, you know, eventually pushed them over the edge. I think that was what Eli needed, right? I don't think they've done that yet with Daniel Jones because we just haven't done it. But different era though. You know, a mixture of good wide receivers can really help the continuity of the team.
Yeah. And I think the thing with this free agency, and you brought up a good point, is like It might have been boring in some senses, but every single one of these moves, I don't think there's a move that we look back on and be like, wow, that was a terrible job. That was a terrible move. We really regret that offseason or that
Sure.
like free agent move, because there's really not any risk with these guys. Like
Exactly.
Waller totally flames out and you lose the 100th pick. Like that's worst case scenario. And you completely like his contract is up. Like he got brought in with no guaranteed money. The only guaranteed money he has is money we're gonna have to pay him this year anyway, and we just moved down the line. So yeah, I mean I'm a big fan, and like Okereke is only getting better. And he's already a good football player. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it was a good move, even if it wasn't the flashiest of off seasons.
And before we get into like
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'm butting in again.
No. I want to circle back to one more thing because I used to be a coach, right? I used to be a player, but like coaching is something that like when you have a player that you see has a lot of potential, but they haven't unleashed it yet, and you feel like you see things in that player that there's like Monty said, there's really no risk, right? I think that's the thing. Like Joe Schoen is like, listen, we're going to sign a bunch of these guys who Daboll can put in his system, that Kafka can put in his system to shine and really kind of see what they can get out of them. And I think that is exciting, and it also kind of keeps building on the culture of winning. And coming to the Giants now is like a thing where it's like, okay, we're coming to a team that is on the ascension versus a team that we're trying to like, they're okay, they're paying me money, I'm a football player. Like this team is on the verge of doing something special. And I think adding more talent that is also on the rise is kind of where you want to go. Everyone's young. We really don't. I mean, I think Jameson Crowder is probably the oldest one out of the group, but he's also got a really big familiarity with Daniel Jones. So, yeah, I like all the moves. Can't go back and go, oh man, I wish we didn't sign Jeff Smith from the Jets. Like,
that's a real
no one's
name.
gonna fucking care. You know what I mean? Like
that is not a real name. I stand by that. That's a hotel
Jeff.
alias. That is a hotel
My name
alias.
is Jeff.
My name is Jeff. That's a telemarketer name if I've ever heard one.
Right. Hi, I'm Jeff Smith, and I'm here to talk to you about My Pillow. No, I'm kidding. I just like don't think it'll be an issue. Like, who are we gonna get upset about signing? Jameson Crowder? I mean, half the people in the stands before a game are drinking Jameson. They're gonna love him. Be like, oh, J-Mo, like what the fuck?
Yeah, and that's we're at the point we're just getting mad about like vet minimum contracts. We're filling in depth for Angie. Joe Schoen's sticking to his word where it's, hey, we're gonna build this thing through the draft, and because you're not gonna find you do occasionally, you're not gonna find these great players that people are letting go for no reason, and then when they do, you have to overpay them. So yeah, it was a deep free agency for linebacker, and that's one position that you can tend to get in free agency because it's a less valuable position, quote unquote. So they went and got it and didn't pay a ton. But with a position like wide receiver, that's going to come through the draft or a trade, and we got Waller through a trade. So yeah, I think we're going to draft these guys, kind of just how he said.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
I'm with you.
Yeah, we talked a lot too about the way the contracts were structured, how a lot of them, a lot of these guys, and everybody's talking about, oh, well, this guy is injury prone and that guy's injury prone, but the way their contracts are structured is that the team itself is protected with these, like, you've got a base salary and you get these in-game bonuses. So these guys are making more money as long as they're staying on the field and staying healthy, which if they're on the field and they're healthy and they're being productive, that's great. Yes, definitely pay them what they're worth, but the team is not going to be cap strapped, for the next 4 or 5 years because we overpaid a bunch of, we paid mid-tier players like, upper echelon players and the way Dave Gettleman would, so Joe Schoen and Brandon Brown and Kevin Abrams really kind of structured these contracts in a really, really smart way. So we were kind of excited about that too.
Yeah, so you don't have to, when you find those good free agents, you don't have to let them go because you paid a bunch of bumps. So
right, exactly.
He said bumps.
Yeah, not calling out any names, Mr. Benny Galladay.
Rhymes with Benny Holiday.
Yeah. Anyways, so speaking of building through the draft, we were talking, we got a couple people in here, and we would love to have you guys input on this. We are going to bring up, I will go ahead and present it. We are going to do a mock draft together, Big Blue Beards mock draft, and we're going to go through 7 rounds, and we're just kind of, I got the PFF subscription here, so we can click and kind of look at these guys more and get some more information. So if you guys have anybody you want in each round, shout them out. We'll look at them more, and we'll try to kind of go through these together and try to build a team. So you guys ready to dive in?
Yeah, how fast are you going to go?
Man, let's do
be on
it.
the clock for a while?
Yeah, we can get on the clock as long as we want. So let's just roll. Let's just roll, and we can move as quickly or as slowly as we need to for this. So, all right. Oh, so we got lucky. Couple really good players. I thought this might be a tough decision. Sometimes you come here and you don't see any of these top defenders or wide receivers available. Sometimes you're stuck here picking between a guy I'm not going to make a big case for him here, but I'll just mention it. A lot of times when all those top cornerbacks and wide receivers and even defensive linemen are gone, I go to a guy, Emmanuel Forbes here. I don't think that's what we'll do in this case, but I'll just make the case for him anyway. He is a guy who's 170 pounds, so that's really small for a corner. It's pretty much unheard of, but he has the most pick sixes in college football history. He is a total ball hawk. Yeah, 14 interceptions throughout his career. Even in people say he's a zone coverage guy, and he did play a lot of zone. He played about 66% of his snaps are at zone at Mississippi State. But when he was in man coverage, he only let up 20% of passes. So I think he's a guy who could hold up there. We haven't really had a ball hawk. One thing I thought was interesting is that I just throw it out. We have a lot of skinny wide receivers in this division. You kind of think about the people you're playing against. You got Devontae Smith, who he matches up size-wise really well. Terry McLaurin's a smaller guy. CeeDee Lamb's a very thin dude. So, something to think about when you're drafting within your division. But with that said, we got some interesting names here. I know a big fan here by a lot of people is Jordan Addison. How are you guys feeling about Jordan Addison? Is that someone you guys are interested in?
I like him. I hate to say this, but if he's the only one there as a wide receiver, I feel like because we've signed a few guys in free agency already, Jeff Smith comes to mind. Just kidding. I really don't think I want Jordan Addison. I'm not going to be mad if they pick him, but to your point, and Sal's in the chat saying Addison. Hey, listen, Sal, take it easy. I think Sal was on a porn site and he really meant to say Madison, but that's okay. No, my analysis of him is it's pretty much the same thing that you were talking about with Emmanuel Forbes. He's tiny. How many small wide receivers are we going to throw out there? I think if we're nitpicking one thing, it's OnlyFans. I feel like with our wide receivers right now, is Isaiah Hodgins really going to be the only big-bodied wide receiver? Is he the only guy that's going to have any type of size?
Between him and Waller.
I guess him and Waller. I mean, Slayton's kind of a big guy, but he's more of a burner. He's not going up and getting possession receivers. No one's going to confuse him with Amani Toomer. I'm just saying, I don't like it. I'm not upset because I think he's a high-end number 2. I don't think he's a true number 1.
Yeah. No, I hear where you're coming from. I think so. I feel similar to you with the wide receivers in general, but that's kind of where I come with a Zay Flowers, who is historically short arms and he's a 5'9" guy. Falls more in the mold of Wandale. He's a little bigger than Wandale. Addison, in my opinion, as a 5'11", he's over 30-inch arms. He definitely fits more. I see him more as a Calvin Ridley type receiver. I don't see him as much as that pure slot guy. I do agree that I think there's a good chance, as it says here, his role, a high-end number 2. Definitely could see that. But I also think he's one of the guys that where if he's your number 1, you're not mad about him being your number 1, but you're always kind of have your eye at the draft. Like, hey, if there's somebody falls that we can get a true alpha, we still want that. But it doesn't mean that like I'm not happy with this guy. Like he's producing 1,000-yard seasons type of thing, I think, as a 1. So for me, I really like wide receivers like Jordan Addison. I'm also a big fan of Jack Smith-Jigba. To me, I think the wide receivers that translate best are the ones who are great route runners and are technicians. I don't necessarily like.
I agree.
I don't necessarily like the guys who are just like, give them the ball in space and let them work. I'm like, no, I want the guys who just, sell their routes extremely well, very good footwork, and I'm not even worried about their athleticism. They're just like absolute great wide receivers. I feel like those ones are the ones who translate. So yeah, I'm a fan of Addison personally. I think he was, as it shows here, he's even better when he was at Pitt. But we have some other guys here on the board we can look at. We're going to look at as well. But do you have any thoughts before we move on to look at the other guys, Sarge?
No, let's move on. I mean, you guys have kind of pretty much said everything there is to say about Jordan Addison.
So before we decide on our pick here, adding another guy, the one thing you kind of talked me into and made me think about Addison a little more is with him and guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba, like they've played with mobile quarterbacks in college, and their ability to kind of break off the route and help their quarterback is a little bit
how to work
higher level. They if you get into a system where that's possible, and with Daniel Jones, you'd like to think they're going to do that a little more, and he started doing that a little more. I can feel better thinking about that and knowing I'd be fine with it.
Yeah. And he does also, I say Calvin Ridley. There's also on a high end, he's gotten Stephon Diggs comps. He's from like a town over from Stephon Diggs, I believe. He models his game after him. So, obviously that's the high upside version of that, but he was also kind of, 5'11", 6 foot, skinnier guy. Obviously a little bit bigger than Addison. But Sarge, anybody here that really catches your eye? I have, one does for me, but I'll let you.
I honestly have to say, at this point in time, like between the two, I think I would go with Forbes. Honestly,
you're Forbes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. We got K Sexy in the chat. If you guys don't follow KSIXI on Twitter, he's a great follow.
K Sexy in the chat
for NFL draft stuff. He's been really knowledgeable on it. So he says here with Captain.
Yeah, make sure you ask him. I'm sure he really would be excited if you asked him doctor questions too. I'm just kidding. Don't do that to him.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah. So yeah, he is a doctor. With Kafka and Dable, we think about not only getting vertical, but they clearly trying to stretch things horizontally. It's why Addison and JSN are perfect fits, and I agree.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. So one more guy I do want to just look at before we make a decision is I do think is interesting is Brian Breesy. He's not a guy who's had great production in college. He's had injuries. Unfortunately, his little sister passed away this year, so that influenced him, and he wasn't necessarily in the best spot. But he's a 5-star recruit, and his athletic traits showed up the combine, and they pop on the field 100%. So I do think it's interesting with him, especially when you look at a guy like Leonard Williams, who he's on the last year of his contract. Maybe if you make a move like this, you could think about trading a Leonard Williams and getting, capital while you can now and move some money. If that's something you're interested in, or you roll with all three of them for the year, whatever it may be. But I think the comments that Shane said about not only looking for the needs this year, but looking at the needs, in the following years, I think he's somebody who would fit the scheme very well. One of the only guys that really could feel fitting that Leonard Williams role. I don't love that he doesn't have the great production. I like that I like that when you can explain it away and it's not just like, well, he'll figure it out eventually. But he's had reasons for his struggles. So makes me feel better he will figure it out. But really high pass rush win rate. He was a guy who's looked at top 10, but he's kind of dropping. But something to consider. But so I don't know. I want the chat has chimed in, but anybody in the chat, go ahead and say who you want. If it's anybody here that we've discussed Forbes, Addison, Breesy, there's other ones. And then we can all put in our votes and we'll just kind of make a decision. Me personally, I would take Jordan Addison here, but I'm good with going whatever the majority wants to do.
I second Jordan Addison.
All right, let's roll it. Jordan Addison it is.
Yep. And
Sal even. Yeah.
Sal, as he loves 4. I'm great. And if I don't see Addison land here a lot, but I think he's a great fit. If he wasn't here, Forbes has been my guy with a lot of these picks. So, and we got our Addison, Jesse. So
Giuseppe.
So let's go and draft Jordan, runner of one of the fantasy leagues I do with Talking Giants. Right there. All right. So, okay. So we're here in the second round. We were able to get our wide receiver, our top wide receiver moving forward in Addison. I think a lot of people would be happy about that. He's been a fan favorite. We have some needs still. I mean, obviously we want to look BPA. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. These can be funky. I'll go to the back up and I'll mention some guys who catch my eye here. Darius Rush is good. He's across from Cam Smith. He's much more athletic, and he's also a very good player. Keanu Benton is a very good
Darius
player.
Rush is converted wide receiver.
Is he? I didn't even know that.
He played wide receiver early on, and I think his second year of college, he moved him from wide receiver to corner. He's kind of that same. He's got it. What did I hear? Dave Sybertson on the Giant Insider podcast basically compared to him is that he is Quentin Johnson from TCU if he was a corner. So he's that same kind of, he's like a big bruiser corner, but he's got really good ball production skills. I did see, we were scrolling down. You went just to corner because I also saw Luke Weipler.
I like Luke Weipler a lot.
Defensive line and linebacker up right now, and we should have
centers.
Offensive line.
Yep.
I like Weipler too. If we look, I'm gonna just look and just kind of see what we have coming ahead here at center because a lot of them look like they came off. So Olu is a player that I'm a big fan of, and Stromberg I also like, but those are really it for as far as center. And Stromberg's going to take some time to develop. And Weipler, we'll pull him up. Weipler's a technician. He's a very good player. He's not like the most outstanding offensive lineman all time. He's not like an athletic freak by any means, but
he's undersized.
He doesn't have that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that same level of like, God, I'm trying to remember the comp. Is it the same level
Tyler
of
Linderbaugh?
Athleticism as Oluwatimi? Like Oluwatimi can you're not moving him, right? He gets his hands on you and he's going to he's going to move you where he wants you. You're not going to be able to push him back. Weipler was was fairly effective in Ohio State's zone running scheme because he can pull really well. And like he's a better version of John Feliciano. So like the stuff we had Feliciano doing this year, Weipler can do all that, but better.
Yeah.
So when they do that kind of zone running and pulling, when the center pulls, and he can get to the second level a lot faster than Feliciano can and stuff like that. So I mean, I haven't watched a ton of. I did watch a bunch of Ohio State games, but again, you're not really paying attention to the center
Wow.
play, you're watching Marvin Harrison Jr.
A lot of guys to catch your eye there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you have to
But-
remember too, like you know what game I did pay attention to that offensive line because I thought they were going to get absolutely murdered is in the national championship game, and he absolutely, I don't know if I would use the word dominated Jalen Carter, but he made Jalen Carter a non-factor in most of that game, and the only times that Jalen Carter even touched C.J. Stroud is when a play broke down where C.J. Stroud left the pocket and kind of had to scramble around where they kind of got around on the back end.
Yeah.
He probably didn't get graded the best in that game because he was facing the best athletes in the country, but he made a difference, and they made it a point to talk about that when they did use the run game as Mayhem was talking about, as Sarge was talking about. They legit kind of got their chunk pieces on a lot of zone read runs, and I really was impressed with him. They brought it to the attention of the audience, and then I kind of started to watch, most of the game, and I think Giuseppe was talking about round 2 center this year that'd be a bad, there's like a value there because I agree with that. Like I don't think if you draft Weifler here, he's starting day one. We talked about, he's a technician. He's only going to get stronger. He's undersized right now as coming out of college, like 300 pounds, which is crazy. But get him in one off-season program, he's going to be at 325. You know what I mean? Like he's probably not going to lose any of his agility. I like him there. Like, yeah, is he Tyler Linderbaugh? No. But, is he as athletic as Ole? No. But I mean, think about the draft profile. Think about some of the guys they picked last year where we were like, why? It's the thought process of like who they feel fits their scheme better than what the fans or what the folks around Giants Twitter feel like is the sure thing. Like I think they want dependable guys, and I don't think you can get more dependable than Luke Wempler.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's a very reliable player. I think he's somebody who will help hold down the middle, and I think it's a pretty safe choice. I don't know, I think there's other guys that I would hope who could be here, who could offer more BPA upside. I'm going to go ahead and look because there's some great corner choices they was brought up in the chat. I don't know if they're left. And Julius Brent is here, so that is an interesting one. And what was the other one? It was Turner.
Garrett Williams.
Turner from Michigan, and he's coming off, and DJ Turner. So that's an interesting one. So let's look at those. So Garrett Williams will look as well. So we'll start with DJ Turner. DJ Turner is a really interesting upside pick here. He's 5'11", 178, which is solid size for a corner. What I've gotten when I looked at DJ Turner is he isn't necessarily the most instinctive guy in the world, but he is a freak athlete, and it shows up on tape. I've heard comparisons of he's like a Tyreek Hill on defense type of athleticism. The dude ran a 4.27 and jumped 40 inches in the vertical. I know, it's Chris Sims, whatever it was, but he had him as his number 2 corner. He also had, Kellen Mond as his number 2 quarterback. So you take it for what it is. But I do like
Chris Sims is number 2 in his household. I don't think his dad has him as as number 1 in his mock draft. So
Chris Sims isn't even the best quarterback in his house.
He certainly has finessed his way into a broadcasting role, though. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. It is PFF for who people were asking. But yeah, if anybody has anything they want to add to DJ Turner in the chat, I'll go ahead and I'll put it up on the screen. But I also want to jump over to Julius Brent. This is another interesting one that was brought up. And this guy is a 6'3", 200-pound corner. He's a very, very big guy. I think he ran very quickly. He had a very good 40 time. I'm not seeing it right here if they have it here, but he definitely can be a little bit tight in the hips. So that can sometimes be a trouble for man coverage. It worries me.
He ran a 4.53 at the combine.
Okay. Yeah. So
I think he had a pro day and it was 4.47. So within the range of same.
Yeah, but yeah. So solid numbers. that size is definitely rare in a corner. As he's definitely a pretty polished guy. He is definitely not somebody who you have to worry about being a developmental guy like people thought, like a Tariq Woolen, who really just came onto the scene,
Yeah.
but thought is that he would have to develop. This guy would definitely come in and be able to contribute right away. He had some a good career over in the Big 12 for Kansas State. So, at some point you got to worry where, with like center, maybe it's something you get with like Olu or Stromberg, or, a round or two from now, cornerback might start to drop off. And it's how important is that to you to have a guy right now? And then, we'll look at one last guy and then we'll try to make a decision here. Is Garrett Williams. And Garrett Williams definitely doesn't have the best numbers here, but from what I've heard and what I've seen is that he wasn't necessarily put in the best situation to win. He was put in a zone coverage scheme, and he's really a man guy. And they described that here, I think, pretty well, if I remember. He's top 5 in this class, is mirroring Billy alone. The rest is a work in progress. And you can match receivers every move. He's a great starting point from a corner. He's an outside guy. They're saying the one thing you can really use is more of that dog in him, but it's from that cliche. But he is. They say he's very similar to Devon Witherspoon. But yes, and brought up is I was a big fan of him, but he is coming off an ACL injury, which does worry me. So, that's a risk here round 2. Round 3, I might feel a little bit better about. But round 2, personally, that worries me a little bit. And one thing mentioned, too, an advantage of Turner over Brent, if we were to go corner here, is Turner does have inside-out flexibility. So, Brent's only boundary, and that is something that we talked about, that Shane was talking about, was having guys that can play everywhere. We're talking about wide receiver, talking about it at corner. Versatility is important to him. So, with all that said, I personally, I think my vote is probably for DJ Turner. But I really could make a case for any of these guys. I'm really close in all of them. What about you guys? And feel free to make your pick in the chat, guys, whoever you guys want.
Go ahead, Sarge.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the. I'm reading some of the chat here. Sal doesn't want us to pick Weipler here because he wants us to pick Oluwatimi in the 3rd, and because we talked about it last week, Sal. You know what? And he also brings up a good point, because if you don't take a cornerback here, the numbers are going to go down considerably. So, I mean,
so we have 2 votes for Brent in the chat.
Yep. Winkies in that size. So yeah.
1 vote from Turner for me.
I would say Turner.
All right, Smooth. What do you got? What are you thinking? Do you want me to go back to anybody?
I'm thinking right now. I think for me, I'm going. I think everyone kind of makes a compelling argument about Brent's. I like his size. I think maybe they look at this as a do-over because they could have had Tariq Woolen last year. He'd be certainly nice to have in the fold already. You know what I mean? So I think I'd go Brent's.
All right. Well, all right. So it looks like we got a couple more Turners. This was a really close one between Brent and Turner. I think Turner won by 2, but it was pretty close to 50-50. So let's just go ahead and rock Turner on this one and move on. But yeah, some good talks. I didn't even see those guys right away, and those guys are always off the board by round 3. So despite them being a little bit further down on this PFF board, they do come off pretty quickly. So
who did we pick?
We got Turner. Between chat and us, DJ Turner got the most votes, so we went with that one. So
fuck you,
now
chat.
Now we got wide receiver and cornerback off the board. I'd say our two biggest needs. I'd be very happy with that return. I mean, Turner is a total physical freak, like athletically, and Addison is just a technician. They're almost like
guess we found Dave Gettleman's burner account. So, all right, where are we at? What's next?
So we're here around 3. Take a look at some of the top guys on the board. Garrett Williams is still here. This is, we just went corner, so I don't necessarily know if I want to go that route, but that is where I'd feel more comfortable taking Garrett Williams. We got Jomo from Tennessee, go at defensive line.
What'd you call him?
Jomo, right? Is that right?
Fucking with you, man.
Okay. I was like, I don't know. I watched some Texas, but Overshown is another good player from Texas. Tajay Spears. I don't really necessarily want to go running back here, but that is an option. Ivan Pace. Let's look at some of these. Let's look at some of these positions that we need. Let's look interior offensive line. So, if we don't want to mess with Olu going any further, let's just go ahead and take a look at him now. I know this is Sal's guy. If you want to drop any of your opinions on him in the chat, Sal, I'll go ahead and put him on the screen. But a very solid player. I've talked to Sal a lot about him. He's a really big fan of Olu. He thinks he could potentially be the best center in this class. I know he's talked to some people who are good about scouting the offensive line, who are think very strongly at Olu. He has 3 years. I mean, look at these snaps at center: 917, 910, 718. If you talk about experience at a position, that's an insane amount of experience. There you go. So he says, "Olu's my guy, center since UVA and at Michigan, total technician and a 5 o'clock guy." So, this guy stays in the building, works his ass off, and is just a technician. I definitely would be on board with taking him. Won every college football award imaginable. As of right now, and look, we got more. This is definitely who I'm leaning toward. I think he has to be center. You basically only have Olu and Jarrett Patterson left who can start. Neither are going to be there around 4, and it's true. And like Ricky Stromberg, who I mentioned, he's not going to start for you week 1 most likely.
Ricky Stromberg is a project guy. He may start after the bye week, but up until then, you have Bredesen or Shane Lemieux as your center. I think it's pretty foregone conclusion at this point, man. I think Oluwatimi is our guy.
You know what? Yeah, let's not waste our time.
Because here's the thing. Everything else, right? We can still get 4, 5, 6, 7.
What do you got? What do you got, Smooth?
I have nothing against this dude. If we pick him here, I'm getting off the shelf. No, I'm kidding. I really don't have an issue, but I mean, what's his? You think he's gonna go in between now and pick 128? Like, you think he's gone?
I do.
I think that there is a strong chance he's gone. I think you can't count on him being there. I think that there's a chance he could be there, but I don't think it's a strong chance.
Okay.
Because I'm also looking at who's picking.
So,
right?
KSXE says that neither him and Olu or Jarrett Patterson, the guy who's like a guard but also can play center for Notre Dame, isn't going to be there in round 4, and he is a doctor. So
that's
I will
true.
have to I concur with you, KSXE. I think we pick Oli.
I agree. I'll just put a couple guys out as an early feeler. I won't even dive into them. We'll see if they're still there. We still do need linebacker. Overshown's a very good player. Ivan Pace is small, but he was one of the best players in college football this year.
Love Ivan Pace.
Yeah,
I love him. If he's there in the 4th round,
I would be fighting for
him.
Noah Sewell, very good Mike guy. I don't necessarily think he's high upside, but he's a strong Mike. And Owen Papo, If you're okay with Okereke playing Mike, he can fly. He can fly, man. He's a will guy.
I'm actually a big fan of was that Henry 202
Oh, and too. He's a very, very good player too.
He's
so,
a really good linebacker.
We could hope that one of these linebackers are there because there's a lot of them. So I think we'd be more comfortable with that. So yeah, let's go ahead. We had a lot of people in the chat who are also on board. We seem pretty strongly. So let's just go Olu and let's see who's available next round. Hopefully some of those linebackers are around.
Do it. Do it.
Too. All right, a lot have come off the board here. Let's go back and go see how much that got ravaged. All right, so wow. All right, a lot.
Nope, don't want any of those guys.
There is one guy, and it depends on how you feel about Okereke playing the Mike, because he's done Mike, but it's not necessarily just a traditional position. This guy, Owen Papo, this guy ran like a 4.39 at linebacker.
Yeah, he's fast.
Yeah, he is. Yep. He has a ton of experience. He flies around the field. He definitely has some experience as a coverage guy. He does not miss a lot of tackles, as you can see here. So he is definitely. I think he's a high upside guy. I mean, look at this grade he got versus Alabama. Cream of the crop right there. I know
that is a rivalry game. Just saying,
yeah.
Rivalry games you typically play above your head.
That's true.
Just
it's a fair point.
If you look at the consistency level against Georgia, a non-rivalry game, better team, 48.2. So
yeah,
you're gonna level up. Yep, that's true. No, I think the numbers trending in the right direction is a good thing for him.
Yeah.
And Sal is in, so I mean,
he was a Feldman freaks guy. That's a great list. Starting to check it out on Athletic. But yeah, so I think I don't know who else I would really want here at linebacker, but he's definitely not as much of a running in like Olu was or even any of our picks. I felt a lot more comfortable about them. So let's look at some of our needs here, and then we can just scroll down the board. What D lines left is a good question. So Keandre Coburn, I believe he is a very good athlete. I don't have his numbers on hand, but I believe he is a very good athlete. If you look at as far as the PFS numbers, he's very strong. Pass rush grades, you have pass rush, all his pass rushing, very solid run stopping grade. From what I remember, he's a very good athlete. Here, we got a good write up here. Where he wins with leverage. He gets underneath people. So they do say he's a nose. Obviously, you want to keep Dex there, but you've seen his pass rushing. Maybe it's something where you think he might be able to play, one of those 3-4 defensive ends, or move around the line. It's like consistency is his biggest issue. And I'll be honest, I haven't done a lot. I'm a West Virginia fan, so I see a lot of Big 12 football, but I haven't really done a lot of tape on this guy, so I don't know a ton about him. They have him as a 4th rounder, so the fit's right. This guy I am a big fan of is Jonah Teve. He is, if you look at his PFF grade alone, this guy is elite in a lot of categories. Obviously does not playing the same level of competition as Govern, but he is, I believe he has 12 sacks this year, 10 sacks last year. I believe this is a guy who could play that 3-4 defensive end really well for us. He's elite grades in almost everything. I think he's being underlooked. He's a smaller guy. He's only 6 foot, but he's 290 pounds. I think he'd be a strong fit at a 3-4 defensive end. We got a suggestion here. We got
hey Monty, I concur about the guy that plays at San Diego State. He reminds me of like a poor man's Kalaji Kancey, who's going to go in the first round out of Pittsburgh. Same build, explosive off the line, like in that Aaron Donald mode where he's. They list him at 6 foot, but that motherfucker's 5'11". He's small, but he's about 290, 300 pounds, and he moves well. I think he'd be quick off the line. It'd be an interesting kind of like change up to what they have, right? If you have,
you gotta
Dixie
like
at
those guys
350.
who are built like a cement block,
like a
Yeah.
bowling
not
ball.
tall,
Like he
but
literally
they're
is a bowling
big.
ball.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get. I'm just gonna check his. If I can get his arm length real quick, because that is also really important with these guys. Because it's you like an Aaron Donald had like very good arm length. I'm not seeing it off the top of my span, so let's just go ahead. But yeah, so I agree. I think this is a guy who I would be really hyped about getting. I'm gonna go ahead and bring up Abdullah, who was brought up in the chat. 6'1", 240, ran a sub 4.5, 37-inch vert, and 10 sacks for Louisville. So, sitting here in the 4th round, there's a lot of good guys in this draft, man. We're looking at a lot of very good people right here. Look at this. Wow. Look at this pass rush grade. Look at this all these guys. If you're talking about bringing back the old Giants and getting, a rotation of great pass rushers, I have not done a lot of look on this guy. I very much trust KSIXI's opinion on these guys. Yeah, I mean, and I love that production. 9 sacks last year, 11 sacks this year. I love to see it more in 1 year. Like being able to do it back-to-back years and getting a sack, that translates. It really does. You look at, I think one of the best examples of that was, what's his name from? He's on the Colts now. He's starting the Jaguars. He flirted with coming here. I don't know. Somebody will remind me in chat, I'm sure. But he was at Michigan. He had a lot of good sack.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
He's also got 3 batted passes this year too. That's
a Giants thing right there. Yeah,
that's a thing.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Do it.
All right. Let's go ahead.
Send the ticket.
Let's go ahead and just everybody. Yannick Ngakoue. Thank you.
K-Sexy got it. Yannick Ngakoue.
Thank you. He had very good sack production in college, and you look at him since he came to the NFL. He's never had less than 8 sacks. There's consistency shows with that type of stuff, and it tends to translate. I know Bucky Brooks is big on that, but it's tough. Honestly, I kind of got sold a little bit on Abdullah. I don't know, but where's the chat at? I know we have I think we have 2 votes for Papo between Soto and Sal.
This isn't a democracy.
Oh, it is though. We're in
it's
our
not.
room. There's no GM here. We're doing this together.
What are we?
Which
we
one
the
of
Packers
these
all of a
assholes
sudden?
in the chat
Yeah,
is,
we're the Packers.
which one of these assholes in the chat is Dave Gettleman? That's what I want to know. trying to sabotage the whole thing.
I mean, we got Sal on camera finally, so I'm pretty sure he's not Dave Gettleman.
Whoever told us is telling us to get running back. There's nobody yet, so I don't think he's here. That's the trap. Who do you guys think though? Are you guys on Abdullah?
I think I'm good with Abdullah, man.
All right. Unless
Bring back the Big Blue Wrecking Crew. That's what I want.
I think with considering this was a suggestion by I'm just gonna call you K Sexy because that's too hard to do it. I'm gonna stick to the New York Revival one. And we got another one, Abdullah. Yeah, let's just go ahead and pull it off. So Abdullah.
That's like 4 Abdullahs. We're good.
Yeah, we're gonna bring back the pass rushing here, and hopefully Aziz, comes back to what he was, and we just have a full crew there. All right,
stack them up.
Let's look at some of the positions we missed here. Let's see. Hey, there you guys, CT fans. There we go. We got 3 people who lived part of their life in Connecticut at some point here.
That's right.
Yep.
Meriden Love, the Dirty Den. Shout out.
All right. I'm in Shelton right now, home of Dan Orlovsky.
Nice. Does he live there?
That's where I am now. Yeah, I was in New Haven, but I'm in Shelton now.
Currently, are you like outside his home? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. I'm doing this from a shed.
Dan, come on our podcast.
He's in Orlovsky's shed right now.
Yeah. I don't know about any of you guys. Nobody's really catching my eye at linebacker, so let's keep moving. Maybe that defensive lineman we're talking about. So he is Teve. I know we did a lot of talk about him earlier. I'm still a big fan of his. He would give us a pass rushing defensive lineman. That would probably be my vote. But let's go back. Anybody in the chat has anybody want to call out? Say it. Let's do a little scroll down. Ooh, as a West Virginia guy, I'll put my case for Ford Wheaton. We already,
dude, check.
Have a wide receiver.
I'm with you.
He is
speed
6'4", 221 pounds. This guy ran it's like a 4.39. He has agility. He was jumping about 40 inches.
No, he's taller than 5'11". We can't draft him.
Yeah, it's true. No. We have Hodgins. There is a place for it. But yeah, and we have Sills here. Sills is tall. He's from West Virginia. It fits it.
Watch your mouth.
No,
that's not a good selling point, Mike.
Hey. All right, I'm just taking the case that we would take him. But no, he was the alpha wide receiver for us. We had terrible quarterback play at West Virginia, and he does have some drop issues here and there. It's not like anything that's, I think, wrong with his talent or anything. I think it's one of those situations where you're looking at what your next move is. Odell had some of these issues occasionally.
Here's an interesting question that nobody brings up when they talk about wide receiver drops.
Yeah,
how much of it is on the wide receiver, or how much of it is on bad quarterback play and ball placement? Like there's sometimes that you're watching this and you see a wide receiver drop a pass and they call it a drop because it hit part of his hand, but it's like, was that a duck and he just couldn't there's only so much that you're going to sell out for a ball,
Yeah.
Really, where is it? Like I suppose you have to really kind of dive into film for that. Was that a bad throw, or is that was he trying to catch it up against his body and not with his hands, or whatever?
And you'll see drop numbers different depending on the source because of that. There is some gray area with that type of stuff. So, but I know personally from watching Ford Wheaton, he does have they're usually just like he's looking to make the next move and it bounces off his hands and it goes straight up in the air type of thing, which is
so it's the Evan Ingram.
It's the Evan Ingram syndrome, exactly, which is then the worst. But
still not selling me on this.
Yeah, I'm giving I'm West Virginia fan.
Let's go back. Let's see what other wide receivers we've got available. Let's keep him in our back pocket. Let's see what.
But I'll give you one last case for it. He's one of the best 50-50 guys in college football. He goes up for it and he will come down with it. He's big body, he's fast. I think there is a place for him. But let's take a look. Hey, cheers. Thanks for joining us, bud.
Case Texie, thanks for stopping by.
I appreciate it. Appreciate your insight. But yeah, let's go ahead and look. I know there were some calls for more wide receiver looking at, so let's see what's here. Wicks is good.
That guy is. I've watched film on him. He has some crazy catches.
He's a highlight reel, but oof, I am not liking what I'm seeing here. 9 drops.
I don't want him at all.
I haven't done a deep dive, but I have seen highlights is really where. But yeah, I am not liking that as much as what I have seen with him that was flashed. Yikes.
I'm not sold. I mean, I don't get caught up in the schools they play for, but I do get caught up in the systems they play for. And Virginia football from an offensive perspective, unless it's a running back or an offensive lineman, maybe a tight end, but wide receiver, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's
go back to wide receiver for a second.
Ronnie Bell,
Dante Demas Jr. had a pretty good combine. I remember I wrote him down. He's another one of all the Terps who showed up. The wide receivers and the corners
they went
all
off.
had really good combines.
Not quite. It was similar with the Bryce Ford Wheaton with a big athletic guy. I know they had Raheem Jarrett was also a really good receiver there. He had kind of a down year, but trying to see who else we have. Let's see. To see if anybody pops off at. We got corner. We got see if we safety is still a need for us. Anybody pops off there. I see some guys that interest me, but all right. Interior offensive. Oh yeah, Sal's right on the same page. I need to see that. Yes. What safeties and cornerbacks are left? I don't know if you see anybody. Sal, shout it out if you have anybody that you think would be worth picking here. It's not.
I mean, from a name perspective, Carrington Valentine's my guy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah, for a name draft, all in.
Absolutely.
But and then interior offensive line, I think is still worth a look. Let's see if there's anybody here. Juice Scruggs. Juice Scruggs is I've heard a lot of talk about him as far as center talk. Yeah.
Yeah,
right, so
Juice Scruggs, I've done a little bit of research on him. I liked him. I just, but we already picked Oli, and I don't really know if we need another guy unless he can play guard,
Yeah, I was looking at Voorhees, who he tore his ACL at the combine, but he was a guy who I would have considered round 2 if he was here because of his ACL. I would have considered him, but yeah, I'm all right. I don't know about you guys. I'm between two people right now. I like Bryce Ford Wheaton, and I like Teve, if you remember, is the really good pass rushing, smaller defensive lineman. I know we have a vote from Sal. I'm probably butchering his name, by the way. But with Teve, one vote for him. Anybody else chime in at this or anybody else we talked about, feel free. Those who I'm thinking personally, and you guys obviously say who you want. Ball. Let's take a look. Who do you guys thinking?
Who the fuck is that? I like Bryce Ford Wheaton. I'm in.
Bryce Ford Wheaton. I could definitely sell myself on Ford Wheaton. Be happy with that. What about you?
That's not a hard
Come
sell
on, West
for you,
Virginia.
Yeah, boy. Maybe I should switch I'm switching my vote. I gotta go with my guy. I'm with you, Ford Wheaton. What about you, Sarge?
Let's go.
I will acquiesce to the group on this one since we got Olawatimi already. Let's go ahead and draft your West Virginia wide receiver.
We did get two Teves in the chat, but so you really could have won either way. You were the cider there, Sarge, but you went with my boys. So sticking with me, we're gonna go. We had all Big Blue Beers vote first one here, and we're getting Bryce Ford Wheaton. And we got, one thing you did talk about though, Smooth, earlier is you were worried about, size and developmental into an X. If you want to talk about a guy you might be able to look down the line and become that guy, Bryce Ford Wheaton's got that type of upside. So,
now grab Tavi.
Like Tavi.
There he is. Now Tavi's right there.
Get him now.
That's quick.
Get him now.
I don't think we need to talk. We've spent a lot of time anyway. That's a good one right there. All right, we got Tavi.
Fantastic.
Everything worked out for the best, guys. We're having a killer mock draft right now.
Stetson Bennett. Let's go.
Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett.
I will not be voting, but I need some help from the chat here though, because I know these guys are
time.
Two-time national champion.
Championship.
75-year-old Stetson Bennett.
I will make my case here. Mohamed Ibrahim.
Done.
Yep.
That guy is an animal.
Third in the country in yards after contact. I think at this point in the draft, when we're looking at, he's 5'8", 203, so he's shorter, but he's, a more stout guy. He's an older prospect.
Really? He's only 5'8"?
Yeah, apparently.
He looks so much bigger in the combine.
But, I think we look at the running backs here. I'm not a big Eric Gray fan. I think he really underperformed. And they really kind of all came off. Evan Hull, I do like, but I like Ibrahim.
No, I say out of the group that's left, Ibrahim is the guy.
Yeah, and then
because last time I checked, Brandon Jacobs is not in this year's draft.
Mm-hmm.
And his son might be soon though.
Yeah, but he plays offensive line, and I'll grab him when he comes out.
Yeah, I'll go Ibrahim because I think we can get Stetson Bennett in the next pick.
Yeah. I'm gonna make my case for a different one to the chat.
We can
I
get
have a
Stetson
different
Bennett
quarterback
in
I'm
with our
interested in.
last pick. What are you talking about?
No,
All
we
right.
gotta
Somebody
get him
already
before
took
the
Hendon Hooker.
seventh round.
All right, so get your you got a running back to help.
Stetson Bennett. Let's go.
All right, if we're talking quarterbacks here, I'm going to make my case after this. So go ahead, guys. The Stetson Bennett Club. Tell us why we should take Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett is the 2-time national championship, back-to-back ships, Georgia Bulldogs. I don't care if he's 25. I don't give. You know what that means? That means the guy has been playing football for a while. He's a fully formed human being. He is a pro's pro. The guy can do everything that you need a quarterback to do.
Very good PFF number.
We have what? How many quarterbacks do we currently have on the roster? 2, right? You need a Stetson Bennett as a slot
You're a
receiver.
slot receiver, Sal. Shut up.
All right. What about you,
serious.
Smooth? Make your case.
Years old. He comes into the league, ability to rent a car. So that's really important to me.
That's important.
It's a very big threshold when you get to that point to be able to do that. The other thing is why in particular, if he was there in the 7th round, there is literally no downsides to drafting him here. In particular, with the draft, that if we were in charge and the people that we've already kind of have in place, I feel like we filled almost every hole possible, right? Absolutely no downside to picking him here. If we wanted to, we could let go of Tyrod Taylor and have him as a backup because he is an older guy. You know, he's gonna be in a system that the stage isn't gonna be too big for him. The dude, I said this to Sarge after Stetson Bennett won the national championship in Georgia for the 2nd time. Herschel Walker almost won a Senate seat. If Stetson Bennett ran for Congress or governor in Georgia in 10 years, he wins by a landslide. The dude has that fuck you, I don't care mentality. Like he's already on a winning lottery ticket. Like he would play with kind of a reckless abandon, and I love that. Like I think there's a case to be made that if he gets the right opportunity, he could be successful in the NFL. And to get him in the 7th round as like an insurance policy, he's Brock Purdy 2.0 with a better arm and in my opinion, a little more wiggle in his game, and he can run a little bit. So that's why I'm going with him.
Can run. He's a mobile quarterback.
He's a fair argument there.
So Monty, think about it this way, okay? When DJ went out in the Bears game, was Tyrod Taylor came in,
he got hurt,
threw an interception, did a spin move, and then got a concussion. And we had Saquon Barkley in the Wildcat because we didn't have a 3rd quarterback. Okay? Tyrod Taylor is not a durable backup. Stetson Bennett is our guy. Push the button. You got your West Virginia wide receiver. Give me my Georgia Bulldog.
I'll let it happen, but I need to make my case for my guy.
Also, here's the thing. We have to have more Bulldog than Duke players on the Giants.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right now, we're 4-4. Give me a Bulldog. We missed Darnell Washington. We missed Nolan Smith. Give me my Bulldog.
All right, I just gotta give you the case for my one guy. And same thing, you guys. I'm gonna go quarterback just like you guys. Just like you guys, I'm gonna go quarterback just like you guys. Dorian Robinson-Thompson. He's played 4 years at UCLA, 5-star recruit coming out of college. He had one of the highest miles per hour thrown at the combine in NFL history. Guy throws absolute bullets. He is one of the most athletic QBs in the country. He is a leader. He is just totally fits the system with trying to get the athletic quarterback that can back up DJ. Whole reason that we brought in Tyrod Taylor in the first place was to get the athlete who can run the system. He has ridiculous agility, ridiculous stop-start ability, and I think he actually offers upside. I think there's a chance that with his arm strength and his speed, he potentially could develop into something. But The worry is his deep ball. That's what I would say the biggest thing is. He doesn't really have a deep ball. He really just puts everything on the line. He doesn't throw things with arcs. Darn it,
so let me ask you a question. How many
PTR a dog?
How many national championships has he won?
Probably win just as many if he played for Georgia.
No.
You think
how many
so?
has he won?
I think so.
He doesn't have any.
I don't
Okay.
think that
Stetson Bennett has 2.
Difference.
Give
he had
me
NFL defense.
my Bulldog. Give me the Bulldog.
I don't disagree that there would probably be a myriad of guys that could come in and win games for Georgia, but let's be honest. You got to give when we do that, we kind of essentially just go, well, anybody could have done that. Like I don't agree with that. The guy throws a good ball. He manages the game well. He is a better athlete than people give him credit for because he's short and white. So everyone automatically goes, well, he's sneaky fast.
Yep.
That's
my favorite.
You know,
I love it when they give you those little modifiers. It's like,
of course,
he's sneaky fast. Okay, it means he's white. Oh, he's a gym rat.
Yeah, gym rat. Coach's son.
Yeah.
Those are my favorites. And I'm not saying you're doing that, Monty, but I feel like that's always been the label. So then we get enamored with the guy like Dorian Thompson, whatever the fuck his name is, because he's got a bigger arm and he's got more athleticism. It's like, does he really? Who cares? Who gives a shit? It's a 7th round. If you told me
arm and athleticism, we might as well just draft Max Duggan.
Max Duggan really was that big of an arm, but
because we know he can take a punch.
That's true. But let me ask you a question, Monty. Okay, if you had to choose, gun to your head, your life is on the line, and you have Stetson Bennett on the Giants next year, or you have Dorian Thompson, what's his name? Thompson Robinson, to win one game, you're telling me that you pick Dorian Thompson Robinson over Stetson Bennett?
I think Dorian Thompson Robinson would fit the offense we want.
No. That's not what I asked. I said if you had to win a game for you to save your own life, who's your quarterback?
I think if I had to go on 1 week, not enough time to change the offense, I would run with Dorian Thompson Robinson.
No, you just died, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say.
Anyway,
condolences.
I think I'll lose my co-host if I don't take Stetson Bennett here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go with you guys. Take Stetson Bennett. So, but I had to make my case because I love DTR. I think, like I said, same case, 7th round. There's no downsides or whatever. That's just
you just wanted another guy with three names. That's what you wanted. You just wanted another guy with 3 names.
That's true. I did get my 3-name guy already. All right. Anyway, let's get quarterback talk out of here because these guys all suck at this point. If we're being real,
none of them are going to play anyway, so it doesn't even matter.
All right. So there actually is a guy, and if anybody who's been doing these PFFs have 7th round guys they want to make a case for in the chat. Have anybody throw them out? I have one for you guys. Actually 2 here that I really like is both safeties. Kayvon Merriweather. He I had some stats up on him before. He's really good, but he is he's a guy who can play man and zone as a safety. I really don't know why he's that low. When I watch him, he seems like a good player. I mean, the Iowa hasn't necessarily translated the best to the NFL, but you go ahead. We already have his teammate on our team. He's very good coverage guy this year. First place in all of college football and passer rating allowed. I don't know why he's going this far. I don't necessarily think he's going to be a stud or anything, but I think this guy could be a very good addition as a depth safety. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to pretend that I know half the guys in the 7th round.
I don't know what you're talking about.
After round 5 or 6, I'm like, okay, cool. Sure.
Let's just go that one because we have one more pick anyway to talk. So, the only other guy I was going to mention there, and there is this guy Christian Young. I don't know when he's pretty brutal here, but I don't know when he ended up running. But he was on Bruce Feldman's freak list. He was supposed to be a guy that has ridiculous athleticism, and he's one of those safeties that plays down in the box. You see, 294 deep, 387. So he's one of those box safety hybrids, linebacker safety hybrids. So Christian Izien.
He ran a 4.4.
Okay. Yes. I mean, I think
6'3",
he's
228.
Yeah, almost 230. So
He's kind of like a tweener. I like that.
Let's see. Don't have Izzy in here. Sal doesn't look like it. Let's see.
Dude, pull the trigger on your boy Christian.
This guy is also interesting. You look here. Look, you're talking about defensive lineman depth, one of the most expensive ones that's been recently. You got, Chattanooga, like, it's the lowest of low competition, but 14 and 9 sacks respectively. Good run defense and pass rush numbers. 6'3", 296. I think that's a position that's been, look what we just played Nacho to be here, who's just, a solid, as average of a defensive tackle as you can get, just so we don't have a crappy player. I think that is a guy I'd be interested in. I suddenly obsessed value. We want to go back to West Virginia. Well, Dante Sills, his father was an NFL player. He was, a starter all 4 years.
He's too close to Sills.
Good run defender. Yeah, but then we could change it to Stills Army.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing?
No, still don't draft him.
Oh, and I have one more. Actually, I have one more for you guys if you want. We, for some reason, re-signed the worst punter in the NFL potentially. And there is a guy, Michael Turk here, who's number 2 all-time in college football history for average punts.
Do it.
TikTok sensation, Michael Turk. He had a whole TikTok series about kicking a ball out of the rafters. All right, we'll do it. Michael Turk, that's the draft.
Wow, I love it.
Let's
see what we get graded on.
Draft, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know why I say ladies. I know there's none in here.
They did not like our day 2, but they loved your Stetson Bennett pick. Best pick in the draft, Stetson Bennett.
Hey, look at that. Seriously, we got
Jordan,
an F for DJ Turner. Wow.
Value.
And a D-.
Because he's ranked
but hey, overall it's a B-. So hey, that's a passing grade. Overall is a B- at the bottom. Look at that.
Yeah, and their grades are all fucked up on some of these people, Olu and DJ. They don't like Michigan. Ohio State fans. They're based out of Ohio, PFF, so they hate Michigan. We just figured it out. That must be it.
There we go.
Totally.
But yeah, we'll go ahead and post this up on the Big Blue Beards social media. But thank you guys all for helping us go through this. That was fun.
Absolutely.
That was a lot of fun, man. And maybe we'll do this at least one more time before the actual draft.
Yeah.
So
a bit closer.
Look at the little scrolly bar at the bottom. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the little bell if you want to get alerts for when we're doing this weird shit on YouTube. So for this week, we're going to wrap things up. Sal, Tone, K-Sexy, everybody else in the chat, thank you for swinging through. Thanks to Monty for running the show. Thanks to Big Smooth. For the Big Blue Beards, I am Sergeant Mayhem, and we are out the door.
Peace.
Hey, everyone.